Alright, so as you can tell by the title of the video, this is my Into the Spider-Verse review. Just a little, I guess, thing to say about it. I saw it a little bit ago, so you know, it's still pretty new in my head, even though I think I saw it like a day or two after it came out. But this is going to try to be a spoiler-ish free review, hopefully. But let's just get right into it. The movie sort of starts out, Spider-Man, the Peter Parker that everybody knows and loves from the Raimi trilogy. He sort of narrates his life, and then it switches to Miles. He's talking to his uncle. Well, there's stuff before that where he's actually walking around the city heading to his new school, but yeah, that's not really the main focal point of the movie. More of it is just about him and Prowler. So he meets up with Prowler, well, his uncle actually, but you find out later he's Prowler. Sorry. He's real close with his uncle. So they go to this subway system, and there's this like secret, not really secret, but like a restricted area back there. But Miles' uncle was able to get him through since he worked a construction job back there. So they were chilling back there, spray painting on the walls and stuff. And that's when Miles gets bitten by a spider. That's the one that gives him his powers. So pretty much skipping ahead, he ends up meeting, Spider-Man in that same area when he returns later on in the movie. I think it's maybe like a couple of scenes after that. But anyway, he sees Spider-Man, fighting Green Goblin, and he's trying to put this little gizmo, actually they call it a goober in the movie, the goober into the collider, into the panel actually, to stop the collider, because it's dangerous, it can destroy the universe and all that stuff, or the fabric, space and time. And pretty much Kingpin in this movie, he's like the main villain, and there's like the two side ones would be more Prowler and Doc Ock. Then under them would be I think his name is Tombstone, and you have Green Goblin, and I mean really that's pretty much it. Like there's some other people too, like henchmen and all that stuff, but that's not really important. But anyway, so they're all there fighting Spider-Man. Well, actually Green Goblin's just the only one at the moment, but it seems like Spider-Man's gonna be able to stop it, but then the Prowler shows up and gives him some trouble too, and then him and Green Goblin are sort of like tag teaming Spider-Man, so he can't really do anything about it. And right before this happens, actually Miles, he is rescued by Spider-Man because he was in the way of danger, and Spider-Man, he promised to train him and stuff too. So it seemed like things were going pretty good, and then sort of went downhill from there. So Spider-Man, he ends up dying because the collider explodes, and then Robo crashes on him. So he can't really move at the moment. He probably could have survived, now I think about it, if Kingpin wouldn't have crushed him, but he said something that angered Kingpin that he saw when his Green Goblin pushed his face into the collider. So basically he saw that Kingpin, he wanted to bring his family back, that they died in an accident, so he wanted to bring them back. And he thought the collider, basically what he wanted to do with it would he wanted to get his family back by finding his same exact family but from another universe, like a parallel universe. So but Peter was saying it never worked because you can't be in another universe for too long without your molecules and stuff being torn apart and basically you getting killed by it. So nobody could survive it, but Kingpin, he just wanted his family back. He didn't care about the risk or anything like that. So he kills Spider-Man, just to get rid of his problem. But then Spider-Man, he sees it, or Miles actually, and before this he gives Spider-Man, gives Miles the gizmo to shut down the Collider because he wasn't able to do it, and basically it just goes off from there. So when the Collider goes off, it goes crazy. It pulls everybody from different universes, like the Spider people. So pretty much that's how they all get thrown into Miles' universe. So the new Peter Parker, the one that's fat, he got fat because he was depressed since MJ divorced him, and basically since he didn't want kids, I think, but she did, and yeah, they just split because of that. So he got fat and had like an eating obsession too. But then you meet later on in the story, you meet Spider-Gwen. She's cool too. I thought they were gonna try to make like her and Miles like have some like romantic backstory, but that's not the case. At least so far, which I'm sort of glad that they didn't do it, because it didn't really feel like there was like that sort of connection between them in the short amount of time like they knew each other. But you know, they were just friends in the movie, which is good. So basically, oh yeah, the other Spider-Man, later on you meet them. You meet the North Spider-Man and Spider-Ham, and I can't remember her name because I haven't seen her before this movie, but it's a girl Spider-Man who has like this like spider robot thing. And basically in the end, well, even toward before that, Spider-Man, all the Spider people, they know how to use their powers and everything because they're pros at what they do. But Miles, he's just recently got his powers, so he's still new at all this stuff, but he has high expectations for him as a hero. But he's not ready for it at the moment, even though he thinks he is, and he still needs training. So he is sort of sidelined by the other heroes. I mean, they want him to help out. They want him to believe that he can help out, but his potential, or he has potential, but that's really where it stops. Like, he hasn't actually, made that potential manifest into anything yet. So he later on, when he fights Prowler, and then turns out Prowler's his uncle, he figures that out, and eventually Prowler gets killed by Kingpin for not killing Miles when Miles reveals his identity to Prowler too. It's sort of a heartbreaking moment, actually, I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, I didn't see it coming, but I mean, I thought it was a sad moment, almost as sad as the part, actually I'd say it's probably even more sad than the part where Peter dies. But anyway, next you see Spider-Man. He ends up, after Prowler dies and he talks to his dad, like he has this one-sided, more of the dad talking, or only the dad talking, heart-to-heart conversation, or more of a speech, I guess. But he ends up, getting his resolve finally, and basically just becomes Spider-Man. So they stop the Collider, and then well, before they do that, all the Spider-Man, they beat the other bad guys except for Kingpin, and they hop in the Collider to go back to their universe, leaving Miles to finish the job and clean up anything else that might need to be finished up with. So he has to deal with Kingpin, which was tough for him, but then he managed to beat him. And I mean, that's really it for that part. And he's, now Spider-Man. Oh, one thing with his powers that I thought was nice, he has the normal Spider-Man powers. He can't make his own webs though, which I think the Ultimate Spider-Man, because he's for the most part like Tobey Maguire's, I'm pretty sure he can make his own webs. But the new Spider-Man, like the fat one from the other universe, he has web shooters. So, and one thing sort of to support that was that when the Spider-Man that got killed actually meets Miles, he tells him to swing up to the to the top of the room, because it's a really tall room. Swing up to the top of the room and put the goober in the panel. So I'm assuming he thought that since Miles was like him, he would be able to make his own webs, but that wasn't the case. But anyway, he can turn invisible, and he has like this electric static shock thing. Not static shock, but like, I think it's called Venom Blast actually. But still, he has those two abilities. And yeah, so by the end, I mean, basically you know that this Spider-Man is going to be a good, replacement for Peter. And I mean, it just works out. Oh, and actually there is one actual after credit scene. I think there's two actually. But the main one is you see Miguel, the 2099 Spider-Man. He is in it, so I'm guessing it's gonna be the next one. And also there is talk about there being, a Spider-Gwen and Miles Spider-Man movie. That's gonna be the sequel. Like somewhere down the line, they're gonna make a movie about them too. So I'm looking forward to see that too. But for this movie, I want to say it's my favorite one, my favorite Spider-Man movie, period. But I'm just sort of mad that they made it an animated movie, because on one hand, I would say they have more artistic license with this since it's not live action. But as good as the story is, it would have been to me even better if it was live action. But yeah, story-wise, perfect. It really shocked me. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't have high expectations for this movie, honestly. I thought it was just, some kiddie cartoon movie. I mean, I wanted to see it regardless because it's Spider-Man. But, I didn't really expect it to be as good as it was, too. So, yeah, it really surprised me. If I had to give this a number, I know I don't usually do numbers, but I'd say this is like a 9 or 10, or like a 9.5. Just because what I said before, it wasn't live action. But yeah, so that's pretty much my review. I like the movie a whole lot. So yeah, I would advise you to go see it for yourself, because I mean it's a really good movie. And I mean, so that way you understand where I'm coming from when I say like the story was good, but live action would have made this movie like 10 times better. So yeah, thank you for watching.